Coming up on Network Africa. Gabon says the political situation is under control in the country after a coup attempt. The AU in France condemns the attempts by soldiers to overthrow the government in its former colony, Gabon. Take a look at the election crisis in the Democratic Republic of Congo. Hello and welcome to the program, everyone. I'm Teniola Shubowale. We start the program today with stories and happenings that made headlines over the weekend.
The Electoral Commission in the Democratic Republic of Congo delayed releasing the preliminary results of December's presidential elections. The results were due to be announced on January 6, but the president of the election body did not give a new date for the publication of results. Corneille Nangaa says the Electoral Board had only received 53% of the tallies by Sunday and called on the Congolese to remain patient until they could compile all the results. The opposition, represented by its two main candidates, Martin Fayulu and Felix Tshisekedi, and the ruling coalition's Emmanuel Ramazani Shadri, all say their candidates have won. Meanwhile, citizens at the St. Vincent of Paul Church in the capital, Kinshasa, say they are fearful that the ongoing delay could spark violence. The vote could mark Congo's first democratic transition of power since independence from Belgium in 1960. In Sudan, hundreds of protesters marched in the capital, Khartoum, in an attempt to reach the presidential palace, but were dispersed by security forces with tear gas and stun grenades. Crowds of men and women marched together as they chanted freedom and peace in unison before tear gas was fired towards them. Witnesses say security forces blocked Khartoum University professors and lecturers from coming out to join the protest, arresting at least 8. The rest were forced to return into the faculty clubhouse, where security forces surrounded the building, trapping about 100 professors and lecturers inside for nearly 3 hours. Although Sunday's gathering drew smaller crowds, anti-government protests have overall posed the most serious challenge to President Omar al-Bashir's rule since they began last month. Intermittent protests have rocked Sudan since anger over food shortages and rising bread prices erupted in demonstrations in the cities of Adbara in the north on December the 19th. President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi inaugurated Egypt's largest cathedral in the new administrative capital east of Cairo, a day after a deadly bomb blast near a Coptic church. Mr. Sisi, who declares himself a defender of Christians against extremists, he told the worshippers that the simultaneous opening of the cathedral and the major Al-Fatah Al-Alim Mosque carried a message of unity. A newly built Cathedral of Nativity had its first mass under heavy security on Sunday, the eve of Coptic Christmas. On Saturday, a policeman died trying to defuse an explosive device hidden in a roof in Nasir City, outside of Cairo. Copts make up 10% of Egypt's Muslim-majority population. Many say the state discriminates against them and does not offer them enough protection.
Now to our leading story today. The government of Gabon says the political situation in the country is under control following a coup attempt in the early hours of today. Authorities say all 5 of the rebels who tried to take charge have now been arrested. This morning, junior officers claimed they seized power to restore democracy. The current president, Ali Bongo, has been out of the country for almost 2 months.
Early this morning, military tanks and armed vehicles drive through Libreville as soldiers attempted to seize power.
En mettant en scène un malade dépourvu de plusieurs de ses facultés physiques et mentales.
Junior officers took control of the national radio station at 4:30 a.m. local time to read a short statement announcing what it called a National Restoration Council. The soldiers declared their dissatisfaction with President Ali Bongo, who is recovering from an undisclosed illness in Morocco. However, Gabonese government said it had opened an investigation into the attempted coup. Spokesperson for the government,
the patriotic movement of the Youth and Defense and Security Forces, concerned with saving our country and preserving the integrity of the national territory and national cohesion, has decided today to take up its responsibilities in order to end all maneuvers aimed at confiscating power.
Guy Bertrand Mapangu said the investigation was aimed at shedding light on the matter because the officers mentioned some politicians in their statement. Analysts said the attempted coup comes as a huge surprise as the Bongo regime seems to be totally in control, especially since President Bongo gave his New Year speech. In his speech on New Year, the 59-year-old acknowledged his health problems but said he was recovering. He slurred some of his words and did not move his right arm, but otherwise appeared in decent health. He was hospitalized in October 2018 in Saudi Arabia and has been in Morocco since November to continue treatment. Mr. Bongo succeeded his father, Omar Bongo, as president in 2009. He narrowly won re-election in 2016 in a poll marred by violence and accusations of fraud.